It's the Red Zone. It's Wednesday, new nine, new same channel with awesome leaders from across the United States. Hey, Josh Kumar, principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland, ISD, Garland, USA. And you know what? That song, that's about football because we're ready to playoffs, high school playoff times, and it's ready to rock and roll. But you know what? What we need today is take out all these tools that we have because all these leaders, look at all these leaders. This is Women in Leadership Part 2. It was so great that I had to expand to another day. So we're ready to learn from everybody, most importantly, from you. So if you're watching this on the rebroadcast, please like it and share it. Get those algorithms going. And if you are in Alaska or Hawaii, whether you're in Maine or Florida or anywhere in the 48, we need you because you're part of this crucial conversation that we're going as all of this knowledge is going across the United States. What do you think about that, Dean Packard?
Josh Toba, outstanding lead-in once again. We are super excited to have all these ladies back at our table tonight, talking about all the great things in education that they do each and every day. My name is Dean Packard, one of the co-founders of Unlock the Middle, and I just get better and better every week. We have an opportunity to talk to others in our business, Josh. How cool is that? When we learn on the fly, super PD, whatever you want to call it, right there. Come on, we're going to do this together. It's free. We come together and we do all the things that are necessary to make the people around us better. Great to have you with us, ladies. Ladies, we're going to quickly go around the horn. You're going to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background, where you teach, what you do, and we're going to go from there. Jana, you're up first.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Jana Clark, Harwood Junior High in Herschel, Bedford. I'm the assistant principal there. Thanks for having me.
Outstanding. Welcome back here.
Hold on. Assistant Principal of the Year.
Of the year. We left that out. Okay.
Thank
all
you.
right.
Thank you.
Josh, great catch right there. Let's go. Dr. Taylor, you're up next.
Hi, Alexandra Rios Taylor. This is my second year in the high school principalship in Mundelein, Illinois. It's in Lake County. We have about 2,100 students, so very fortunate and blessed.
Outstanding. Welcome to the table. Rachel, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Adeweked. I'm principal of one of the top-ranked elementary schools in the state of Maryland. I'm serving in my 5th year as principal.
Outstanding. Welcome back. Zandra.
Hey, everyone. Good evening. Sandra Galvan, the proud superintendent of the Greenfield Union School District in Greenfield, California, Monterey County, California, and was just recently named ALAS Superintendent of the Year, National Superintendent of the Year. Exciting.
Congratulations. Great stuff right there. We're in the presence of greatness once again, Josh. Every week it gets a little better with that. Donna, you're up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Donna Hayward, principal of Haddam Killingworth High School in Connecticut and the 2023 Principal of the Year.
What do you think about that, Josh Tovar? There's a good lead-in for us.
Greatness right there. And we'll get our last team member coming on the call right now. So let's just get started. For all the listeners out there that are watching this on the rebroadcast or right now live, this is a part 2. We're going to pick up where we left off. So it's crucial that you go back and view August the 31st show so you could see the first part of this. And so we'll
show that again anyway. We'll do that. I'll put that out again tonight just so people can see it.
Perfect. Thank you. So we'll start, Donna, start off with you. And the question is, what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced being a woman in leadership?
How long is the show? So I actually just did a talk about this with my alumni from Smith College this last weekend, actually, and talked about, there are a variety of things from the way women are received and regarded and perceived relative to our male counterparts for some of the same actions, same behaviors, same statements. Women are often perceived differently. And I think one of the greatest challenges is just knowing that it's 2023. And I think I've told this story before. I can't remember if I've told it on this podcast or not, but when I was named 2023 Principal of the Year, the thing that struck me the most that evening was all the women filing past me that evening on their way out, congratulating me and telling me how happy they were that a woman was representing them. And I remember thinking, it's 2023. Why does that still matter? But it still does. And I think that's the greatest challenge, is getting folks to understand that it's still a thing and it shouldn't be, but it is. So that's where I'd start.
Thank you, Donna, for sharing that. And we'd like to introduce part of the Fantastic Four, Dr. Shika Houston. A little quick background to the audience, please, Shika, before we ask you the question.
All right. Good evening, everyone. And I'm sorry I'm late to the party, but it's been a long day. I've been at the office just getting home. I am the Director of Secondary Interventions for Chester County School District. I work mainly with middle and high schools, and also the founder of Create and Educate. My business partner and I raised our school report card levels, 2 report card grade levels in 1 year at my middle school, and her elementary school raised up or came up 3 report card grade levels in 1 year. We experienced a great deal of microaggressions, not much support under that past leadership in our district. So we decided to become the help that we need with our company, Create and Educate. We support mostly women in leadership because a lot of times those pipelines don't exist for women in leadership, and that support is not there. And specifically, we have a focus on Black women in leadership. So, hi, everyone. Thank you all for having me.
Welcome back.
So, Shika, tell the audience some of the challenges that you face being a woman in the leadership role.
I was just waiting for my daughter to close the door. So some of the challenges, number one, just that support was not there. And I think that when everything was going fine, everything's going fine, everything's great. But when our school received that unsatisfactory rating after our school, the district's or the state's accountability model change, that was our first year in the principalship. So instead of coming alongside us, the tactic of the district leadership at that time was to, I'm going to cover myself. So if these people don't come out of this, I've washed my hands of them. I've placed them on improvement plans. I've told the board that I've done my part. So if they don't come out of this, we have, told them they're going to go back into the classroom, and basically made us feel like we were incompetent or it was our faults. But then once we, got the support that we needed and did research on our own, reached out to people like Principal Hurt, Principal Kafele, and was able to get support. Then when we brought the schools out of school improvement, there was nothing. No congratulations, just crickets. Nothing, heard no more about an improvement plan, of course. But, the support really just was not there. And then those microaggressions came into play as well.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for speaking from the heart. Dr. Rachel Eroeket.
Yeah, I'm someone that came up without seeing any women school-based leaders. So K through 12, I actually had all male principals. And so I think one of the challenges, not as much now, but definitely growing up, I saw myself as a teacher, but never necessarily in the leadership role because that wasn't something that I had modeled for me. Although I really enjoyed and loved all of my principals that I had, I never saw a woman leader leading a school before. So I think that's one of the challenges is sometimes having someone who looks like you or someone who is managing similar needs. I think now as a wife, a mother, that comes along with additional challenges to the role because we want to be very good in our jobs at school, but we also want to be good mothers. There's pressure there at home to be a good spouse, to be a good mom. And some of those gender roles persist. So if you're lucky, you've got a great husband like I do, and someone who's going to take on, additional responsibilities. But I think that's always going to be a challenge. I'd say another challenge is imposter syndrome. We know that as women leaders, as women in general, sometimes we want to have all of our ducks in a row before we will apply to positions or feel like we're not quite good enough or the timing isn't right. So I always encourage women leaders to go for it. You learn as you go, you gather your experiences, and everything that you've learned will help prepare you for your next role. So there's no need to wait. So I think having other women leaders who are mentors are some ways that we can help bring other women leaders along into the fold.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Dr. Taylor, talk to us.
I echo everything that my fellow colleagues and leaders have shared. Everything from imposter syndrome to invisibility, I think, was the first part for me. When I stepped into leadership, I knew I could do it. It wasn't a question about ability or competence. And I knew I had the drive and the support system that is a reality that women do face when they are in a position to care for kids and as a spouse and family members. I'm Latina, so I have a collective culture background. So they're going to come where I go, and where I go, they go. But aside from that, I felt like invisibility was a layer that I had to overcome. And I was so intrigued with that, just finding other women and other minorities represented in that space where they may have had a seat at the table, but it may not have been a table of decision-making power. And so they really had to cross the threshold of and enter a position in which they had that ability to make decisions and lead their teams and build capacity. But feeling invisible and silenced in spaces happens, and it's something that is a reality, not just for women, but again for minority leaders, I do believe. And then imposter syndrome, once you're there, feeling like I still don't know what I'm doing, even though I have a doctorate, I still don't know what I'm doing. And so it takes a community, and that's how I definitely, embraced that challenge. And then I also, realized that most women, and this is just coming from my personal research, they turn to self-education. So they're going to pursue higher ranks of education in order to overcome that imposter syndrome or lack of fundamentals, like Dr. Edoho Edoho Eke.
Edo Eke. Yep, you're good. Thanks.
Like she mentioned, I didn't have that representation, so I was walking blindly and just kind of entering spaces that were unfamiliar territory. So I had to figure out really quickly what that looks like on my own, and then build community as I went along.
Thank you very much. Superintendent of the Year for Alas. Talk to us.
All right. Gosh, I love being in this space with all of you because you inspire me too. And I think it's just so true of what everyone has shared about imposter syndrome. Like, it never goes away, no matter how many degrees or academies or positions you've held. It's just something that still tries to creep in and causes us to doubt ourselves. And that's why we lean in to each other, and we turn to other sisters and create sister circles and create workshops at conferences for us to be able to lean in and just say we are enough. We have everything that it takes. And that when our crown, slips off our head just a little bit, we're right there to pick it up and put it right back on and say, you know what, Dr. Rachel, Dr. Taylor, I think you just forgot who you are. Let me fix that and get out there and do your thing, right? We talked about statistics. So I do trainings across the nation when we go to conferences about leadership. And so we add the really large letters with the HER in there. And I want to just give you some statistics when it comes to that. And so as we mentioned before about teachers, 76% of the teachers nationally are female. 40% of the principals nationally are female, 40%. Yet 27% nationally are superintendents, and only 4% are superintendents of color. So I am in the 4th percentile of like the nation statistics as a Latina. And then talking about the pandemic and how people transitioned out of their positions, we also had 46% of our superintendents transitions out of the superintendency during the pandemic. 38% of them were female superintendents who left those positions. And 66% of the female superintendents during the pandemic that left were either fired, released, reassigned, or retired. So, and we already only had 27% of them that were female. I share these statistics with you because nationally we are in a crisis. And we know that women lead with their heart. We lead because we are mothers, we are daughters, we are sisters. We represent people who we want to make sure that more of us are in those positions. And so the challenges for me is to see those statistics and walk into a room with other superintendents and not see a lot that look like me, which is definitely a national crisis. And so whatever we can do to support. And so I give you the challenge, but then I give you some solutions. I get to mentor for AASA, national organizations. I get to mentor future aspiring Latino and Latina superintendents. I get to mentor for the aspiring female superintendent academies. And anytime we have an opportunity to share with each other anything that we have that we doubt, it's the same story as a sister down the road or in another state. And so it validates that we are enough, that we did go through that. But guess what? Those gatekeepers are not going to define who I am as a woman, as a female. And I came a little late to the game, but I am graduating in May with my doctorate. So all you that did that, yay, yay. Because it's just another opportunity. Whenever we do things like that, I want everyone on this call, I want our sisters to remember that you are representing all the sisters. And so when you make that success first, that's just giving us more gusto and more gas in our tank to be able to say that we also can do that. If you can do it, I can do it. And then I'll just end with two things real quick. I am a superintendent that is a product of my school district. And so when I walk into classrooms and little girls see me that I look like them, it's super powerful for them. Today I was speaking at one of our elementary schools had college and career day, and I told them that story, like, I am you, you are me. If I can do it, you can too. And the last thing I'll share is thank you to Dean and thank you to Josh, because our brothers are our allies. They are our co-conspirators to allow like just opportunities for us to flourish. And in a cabinet, when a male superintendent hires more C-suite level female superintendents, that's better, for the organization, because you need that variety of thinking. And I just want to thank both of you, Dean and Josh, for creating this space and this place for females to be able to share what we're going through. You are better fathers, better brothers, sons because of that. So just thank you from all of us.
Well, it's that guy over there. He did it all. So we give credit to that guy in the corner. He's a man. And Jana, talk to us. Close it off.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone has shared exactly my thoughts. I think for me, sometimes I am fortunate to be in a district where 3 of our 5 junior highs building principals are female. And so it's a district where, sometimes I think we take for granted the luxury that we have to show women leaders throughout the district, throughout the community. But absolutely, I echo those things. I think Donna said it perfectly last time I can say the same thing as a male leader, and, the way he says it, it's leadership. And the way I say it may be bossy or, maybe the other B word, but that's something important that, just to file away. And I think that after I left our time last time together, just with everyone, is really having the woman in leadership badge of honor was something that I really took away. I'm not sure that I recognized, just being in my district, how fortunate we were.
Leadership has no boundaries. And Josh and I have spoken about this before. I remember I was a 30-year-old teacher in a classroom teaching history, coaching high school basketball. I got a tap on the shoulder from an existing principal to say, you know what, I think you'd make a great leader. I think that I see something in you. You have the thing, you have the it factor. So let me ask you this, ladies, your success, how do you promote young women? What do you do within your field to captivate that burning desire to move up the ladder? Do you go out and tap on the shoulders and say, you see this, you've got it? What does it look like from you and your lens? And let's go down, and I'm going to start off with Donna this time. Donna, you're up.
What do I do to promote other women? Is that the question?
Other women, yes, to rise to the top. Yes.
Oh my goodness, this is one of my favorite things. So first of all, as one of my sisters on screen already said, just providing the role model is a big deal. So the greatest compliment I receive is often from some of my girls and some of my girls' parents talking about just how important it is for them to have had a strong female leader in their building. For a while, my high school was completely female-led. I had 2 female assistant principals, a female athletic director, and of course myself. And that was a really interesting time. But the bottom line is I just look for leadership where it exists in the building. So I don't look for specifically women leaders. I don't look for specifically male leaders. I look for the talent. And I look for who's going to be best at doing whatever the thing is that needs doing in that moment, whether it's leading a department through a tough time or leading a sports team, navigating a dynamic in the building. Whoever is best suited to that, whether it be personality, aptitude, life experience, that's the person that I tap. And so, statistically, at least half of those people are going to be women. And so in my building, you will see an awful lot of female leadership. And in my building, folks know, like, if you're ready to step up and do the job, and if you're going to do the job well, you're at the table, because we need all of you. So I think that's first and foremost.
Donna, thanks for clarification on that. And, for just for interpretation out there, I would never say just women to women do that. Leadership is what you look for in people.
Right.
There's no barriers for leadership. So thank you for that clarification.
You got it.
Zandra.
I think it has to, so much mentorship, I think is something that just having a conversation with another female when you see them, because we notice those kinds of things. Like if someone has a little different face on, or they're concerned about whatever role they have, I'm always ready to promote a woman within the organization, and also say their room in a room full of opportunities. I know we've seen that quote. So if there's an opportunity to be a lead presenter on a grade stage or something, I'll mention their name. And I know I've heard, because I've not experienced it very much, maybe twice in my whole life, the competitiveness or cattiness with women. As I grow and we mature, we realize how we spend our time is so important. So if there's anyone that is not ready to promote women, or downplays or insults a woman, or is seen as a competitor, I just cut them out of my life. Like, I don't need that in my life anymore, because I want people who are going to promote another female and support them in that role, because we're going to be here only so long. And we want the next generation of leaders to be ready and able to support other women. So mentorship, just pulling people aside with the conversation. And I will say in my organization, there may be, something that happens. I'll never, ever strip someone of their human dignity in public. It'll be a conversation behind a closed door and say, I noticed this. I think we just need to be mindful of what that is, because here's how it came across. And oftentimes people don't realize how they come across when they're doing that with another female, or just with another person in general. But really, for females, and promoting mentorship and supporting ladies to rise is underutilized. And I think it's just something that would help support women to be able to feel that they have what it takes, their confidence is there, and you're never truly ready for anything, to be honest. You learn a lot as you go along. So just say yes and be willing to be mentored and take that opportunity.
Absolutely love that. Dr. Taylor.
Yes, I'm going to echo what Donna had mentioned. In my school, we have Si se puede is our mantra. And so it's on our shirts, it's on our posters. And I just truly believe in building capacity. And so when I'm looking at my students, it's not so much whether they're a woman or a young male, or a student of color or not. It's just, yes, you can. You can. Whatever you set your mind to, whatever you set your hearts to and your intentions to, you better work for it, but you absolutely can. And so it gave me a lot of pride when I went to my first Universidad de Padres, our meeting, which is a parent meeting at my school. We're 47% Latino. And I was able to say to them, your student is the next principal of Mundelein High School, and they had never heard that before. And so I truly believe in offering the opportunities to build capacity. And I'm one person, so yes, I can build a relationship. Yes, students love coming to my office, but I've really leveraged alumni networks to come back to the high school and then work with our students as mentors. We have an awesome My Brother's Keeper program running. It's in its second cohort. We're just seeing such great gains for our students. So leveraging, our alumni who are willing and able and wanting to make those connections with our students helps, because I'm one person, but then really getting the whole school to rally around the collective efficacy of, yes, achievement and growth, and where you set your mind to, all of that is possible as long as you really believe that. And it's up to the responsibility of us as staff and as teachers to believe in our students.
I love you said the difference between relationships and building capacity. There's a big difference between the two, and there's a lot of room for building, creating leverage to help people to become successful too. So great point right there. Jana.
Yeah, so this is my second year to have a teacher to get their admin cert. And those conversations just happen organically in post conferences. One of my favorite things to ask in a post conference is, what's your goal? What's your end game? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And that's how the last two teachers, said, I really kind of thought about administration at some point. I'd love to have my own building. And so getting them to get their master's and getting their admin cert, I've had a lot of fun doing that. One thing that has really been fun on my campus is I have a couple of girls that a few years ago started to calling me the girl boss. Like, hey, girl boss. And we were just having fun with it in the hallway. Well, now they have kind of taken that over. So they are the girl bosses of the campus. On Twin Day, they will dress like me and the other assistant principal. And I have a mobile, they call it my mobile command center. But I push a desk through the hallway and I just post up in the hallway for a couple of periods. And they are like, Miss, can I come be a girl boss during my elective? I need to see what's going on in the hallway. And so they'll ask to come stand with me in the hall. They'll come to me and say, we've noticed, and they'll just bring concerns. We've noticed there's been some vaping. And what we would like to do is we would like to do an announcement over the announcements about the dangers of vaping. And they're like, because Ms. Clark, that's what girl bosses do. We see a problem and we fix the problem. And I'm like, all right, let's go. So they have it's awesome. And they have now, they're ninth graders now. So they've gotten some seventh graders to join the girl boss. So we'll see how the seventh graders live up to that challenge, because these girls are leaving for high school. And so they think that we need another girl gang there.
I love that. The girl boss, follow along, having the student voice embedded in what you do. Really, really good stuff right there. Rachel, you're up.
Yeah, so just to echo what everyone has said, I've been so blessed by my mentors. Mentorship is such a huge part of my story. Dean, like you, I had a principal say to me, have you ever considered being a principal? That question changed my life. I'd never considered that as a third generation educator in my family. I came out of kindergarten right into the assistant principalship. So that track alone was a little bit different, but it was a woman principal who said, I see things in you that I think you could run a building one day. It had never crossed my mind to do that. And now I'm sitting in the seat 5 years later. And so I think I'm finally in that position where I can do that talent spotting as well, because I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable after 9 years as a school-based administrator. I have some things that I want to share. And so I think for me, I look at the teachers, the best teachers in the building, because the best teachers make the best administrators. Really having that knowledge base of student needs and how to move students and build relationships is a great foundation for leadership, school-based leadership. And so I have done some organic, same that my principal did. You have some skill sets I think would be amazing. But then I also have, I'm mentoring currently 3 aspiring assistant principals right now. Shout out to Whitney and Laura and Amber. They're fabulous. They all just happen to be women and women of color. There are definitely some experiences that I'm able to now share with them. For instance, when I first came to my school, I was one of the youngest people on the staff. And so not only was I one of the youngest, I also do not reflect the population of my staff or my students in the community and families. And so that is a different challenge in and of itself. So as I'm talking with newer leaders who are up and coming, it's really important that we're honest about what the job takes and what are some skill sets that are going to be needed, kind of that flexible thinking, and how you can navigate situations that, when you're placed in a different school, you might be, having new challenges that you're not aware of. So I think another part of our responsibility is just being authentic in what we're doing, talking through how do we make decisions, who do we reach out to, what are some of the considerations that we think of as we are making decisions. And that's a way I think that we can continue to grow really strong leaders behind us.
Well said right there. And Sheikha, you're up next.
Just to everything that everyone has mentioned are some of the same things that are part of my story. There was a a friend of mine now that she was my assistant principal who said, you know, you would really make a phenomenal leader. She sent me to a professional development opportunity because at that point I had no interest at all. But after attending what she asked me to go to, I did change my mind, and it changed my course. Also, I have tapped several women leaders that I have felt like would, you know, make phenomenal leaders as well. So they are either assistant principals now, and one is working at the district level with me. So just those same types of things. And my partner in crime, my trust mate, we call each other, Dr. Tammy Taylor and I, every Saturday at 10:30, part of the Fantastic Four with Josh and Dean. We are on our podcast, The Real Academy, and we are the Leadership Doctors, HERS, where we are providing free PD, free information for women leaders, for any leaders, as a leader as well, just on some of the best practices in leadership. And we've recently partnered with the University of South Carolina, go Gamecocks, Josh, for our, they would like for us to come and do some talks 3 times per year where we're developing that space for specifically for Black women to be able to collaborate, but also those who are allies for Black women in leadership. So that initiative is called Build My Sister Collaborative. Our first event will be in person at the University of South Carolina on December the 9th. So it will be a space for everyone to come and learn about the Africana womanism paradigm. That's the work that Tammy has done specifically through her dissertation research to help cultivate those leadership practices. It's different than feminism. Feminism kind of pushes you guys out, and we are in concert with our male counterparts in Africana womanism.
Thank you. Great stuff right there too. Josh.
Awesome. Big shout out to our guests, Felicia, Donna, Marietta. I need my glasses, Donna, Marietta, and Lamont. Thank you for joining us tonight. Hey, ladies, real quick right now. You know, there was always a moment in the chair that you sat in where you said, eso, that's right. You know, this role that I have, eso. What was your most memorable moment in that role, the leadership role, where you said, there we go, I gave back or I received something? I don't know, whatever that experience was. You know what I mean? Dr. Taylor, what was that experience for you?
I'm smiling because when you said that, the irony is I didn't seek the principalship or any acceleration for that matter. It was always someone who was telling me to enter it. And so when I was offered the principalship, I cried for a month straight because I knew I could do it, but I didn't know if I wanted it. You know, you're looking at the #1 divorce rate in the country is the superintendency. The #2 is the high school principalship. And so I was afraid. And so I wish I was ecstatic. I wish I was like, eso, you know, was mine, but I was scared. And I think I knew that this would be a big change for my family. And I knew that my heart and my responsibility to my community would propel me forward. But I also recognized there was going to be a level of sacrifice required. And so I think I needed to make sure that my family, my kids, my husband understood what that meant and that I'd have their full blessing as I entered. And so I wish I could say con ganas I entered, but I did it with fear. But let me tell you, it was the best decision of my life. And every time someone asks me, you know, am I happy in this role? I love it. It's the calling of my lifetime. And I'm honored and privileged to do what I do. And I am doing a damn good job.
Eso. Bien, Dr. Rios Taylor. Eso. Jana, talk to us.
That was so great. So today, actually, I had a parent. We had, the meetings that they go through, the roller coasters of emotions throughout the entire meeting. And at the end of the meeting, she stood up And she leaned across the table and she pointed at me, and then she just started crying. And she was like, thank you. Thank you for changing my son's life because you cared for him today. And it was the moment for me that, I mean, we all just sat there and cried at the end. It was a hard conversation. It was a crucial and critical conversation to have with that mom. And we didn't know how it was going to go. And for her to sit there and recognize that this is what we wanted, what was best for him, to really prepare him and propel him into the future that we know he can have. And for her to see that, even though it was a difficult thing to have, when she pointed at me with those tears in her eyes today, I think that was it for me, because she definitely saw that we were there for her baby.
Eso, Jana. That's it right there. That's it. There we go. Donna, talk to us.
So interestingly enough, I think the moment that I really felt what you're talking about was just a few years ago. I mean, very deep into my career. And it was actually at what was a very low point for my faculty. So about 5 years ago, we had a tragedy in our building. We lost a member of our faculty actually in the middle of the day. It's a very long story that I wouldn't share here, but he passed, and he was a beloved coach and longtime veteran teacher of the building. He had children in the building. He was just a really integral member of our team, and very, very visible in the community. And so it was a dark time. It was a dark time for my building. It was a dark time for my faculty was grieving. My kids were grieving. I was grieving. This man was a close friend of mine. And at some point in this, the first 48 hours, I guess, maybe 72 of leading my building through this, where we as principals know we have to put ourselves not even second, maybe 10th in line, and care for the people that we serve first. At some point in those hours, when we had therapy dogs in to help people open up. We had grief circles for our faculty. We were meeting with kids. We were doing everything we needed to do for the school community. I looked around and I thought, I am doing what I am meant to do in this life. And it was, what a horrible time to think it. But I knew that I was caring for these people in the way that they needed to be cared for. And we did. We moved on. We moved forward. We supported his children as one of them prepared to graduate just a month later. And I haven't doubted it ever since then. Like, I know I'm doing what I'm meant to do in this world. And sometimes it means putting yourself, like I said, 10th in line, and really lifting up those around you, especially when they need it most. It's easy to do this job on happy days. It's easy to do this job on graduation day, or the day you win the state championship, or the day your test scores come in and you rocked it once again. It's not easy to do this when your building is in a dark time. And sometimes that's when you figure out that's exactly where you're supposed to be.
Eso, Donna, exactly. There you go, exactly. Superintendent Sandra.
Oh, this is a great question. And so for me, an eso moment is when we think about our role and the impact that we get to make on others. Mm-hmm. And I think we don't realize the impact until someone comes later on and expresses that to you. So we live our lives through a series of moments and trying to impact as many people as we can, having the 5-year, where do you see yourself in 5-year conversation. But for me, I think there's different times when I'm in that moment and realizing the impact that we make. And it's a very humbling experience to realize the impact that we as individuals make on others. And so I'll go back to a college and career day when little girls look at me and I ask them, what they want to be when they grow up, and they turn around and they say, you, like they want to be us. And so that is just amazing to have that level of responsibility, but also just realizing our actions, the way we make people feel is so impactful. And then I'll take it all the way to the other end of the spectrum. And while we've been in this meeting, I've been getting texts from some of my female admin members, and I'll share with one with you. Her name is Araceli Zavala. She was a school counselor, but always just a super positive person. And so we had an opening for an assistant principal position, and she did not know if she had what it took to be in that position. But through conversations, we get to have with these beautiful, amazing leaders and encourage them and let them know, like, you already love the school as our counselor. What's going to change? You're just going to have a little bit more influence now in that role. And what if you love it? And what if you don't? Well, it's going to chalk it up to a lived experience that you're going to carry with you when you go back to the counseling ship, like whatever that dream is. And so I think when people tell us that, like, I'm in this position because you gave me a chance, I think we need to give people lots and lots more chances just to try something and to see if they love it. If they don't, well, it's experience. But if they do, wow, what impact we get to have on people.
Eso, there you go. Soup, I love it. Puras ganas ahí. Dr. Rachel Edo-Eckett.
Yeah, I'm one like Dr. Taylor who struggled with the transition because I really enjoyed what I was doing in the classroom. And so it was similarly to her experience, talking with my family, my children at the time when I first began my leadership journey as an assistant principal. I have twins, they were 3. And so that was a really big impact on the family to say, okay, my hours are going to change. My job is going to change a lot. And then as the principal, as I transitioned into the principalship, they were going into 3rd grade. So our family, they're still young. They're middle school now, but I do remember grappling with the decision to go up. Would I make the same impact? Would I know the students the same way? But for me, as the superintendent said, that it really is about the level of impact. So it's hard for me to pinpoint one moment, but I will say there have been times in meetings where we're advocating for a particular student. A lot of times the decisions are, should they go on a gifted track? Should they stay on this particular track? Where should the students go? And I know my level of influence on those conversations is very clear, that I want my students to have as many opportunities as they can. And so we've been in conversations with teacher teams and leaders and talking about students, and really that advocacy point for families. Families may not know that this is all behind the scenes work, but being able to influence that conversation and steer children on tracks where they're going to be the most successful and they have the most access is really important to me. And my staff knows that about me. And so I recently wrote a book called The Principal's Journey, and talking about the pathway to leadership. And during the book launch earlier this year, one of the parents stood up, and that had come to the book launch. And she said, I don't know all the details, but I know for a fact you were instrumental in making sure that my son had what he needed. And she began to cry. And I also cried because she didn't know all of the details, but it was true. And I know that I had made an impact setting him up for middle school, high school, and beyond in a positive way. So those are the touch points that make a difference for me. And I know that's why I'm here, is to continue to open pathways up for students.
Así se hace eso, Doc. Great job. There you go. Fantastic Four. Shika Houston.
All right, Josh, I love when you teach me new Spanish words.
I'm trying to make Dean an honorary Mexican, so I try to use a
I'm 3,000 miles away. I'm working hard at this.
I'm not working, but I'm trying.
I'm going to be using this one. My SO moment was when going through that school improvement process, I was definitely trying to make sure the students knew what the goals were. We were dealing with a lot of apathy. I'm blessed to, like Superintendent Zandra, to work in the community that I was reared in, that I went through the same schools. So sometimes in every case, I wasn't able to depend on the messaging that I wanted to get out to students to go through everyone that was there, because I knew that there was adult apathy as well. So I was intentional about making sure we had the town hall meetings. I bought mats for the children, and I would line them up outside the doors to sit on their mats to let them know what our vision was, what our goals were. And I would always end with, CMS, I see you. What do you see? Your answer should always be greatness. So I would always announce before MAP testing what their goals were, because we talked about the importance of being on grade level and the importance of not just clicking through things, that when your name is on something, you've got to make sure you're doing your best and you're showing up, because you're just not just representing the school, but you're representing yourself and your family and what you value. So one day I forgot to make the announcement, and one of the teachers called and said, the children said, Dr. Houston forgot to announce what the score was. And I thought, yes, they're listening to me. They finally have gotten it. So that was definitely a moment. Another one was when I had my own advisory group. So we would talk about personal goals. And at that time, I was working on my doctorate. So I let them know, that was my goal. And, once I achieved it, the staff made a big deal about it. They made announcements. So we had parent conferences, and one of the young ladies in my group, her mom's, I'm from the community. Most people call me Sheikah by my first name. And so when her mom said, Miss Houston, she said, no, Mama, it's Dr. Houston. So that made me feel proud. And I said, no, baby, your mom can call me Miss Houston if she wants to. It's not that big of a deal. But just those types of things are things that really made me proud.
Ladies, in my 30 plus years in education, what resonates with me from this conversation tonight in part 2 is you all have defined your purpose and why, and what you do and why you do it. That is so important, and it'll carry you forward from now until the day you decide to help create the legacy or the person that's going to come into your position after you leave. And it's so cool to hear. Listen, this is what I want from you. You've got 20 seconds when I say this to you. Think about this for a second. Closing remarks, just about your accomplishments, what you would say to anybody who wants to get into the field of leadership. You got 20 seconds. And who am I going to pick first? Let's go with Rachel. You're up. 20 seconds.
20 seconds is fast. I just want to encourage everyone who's listening to go after your goals. It's really important that you do that. And don't be afraid of making mistakes or taking risks. All that is a part of your journey, your leadership journey, and it will make you a stronger leader. So I just want to encourage you, if you really are passionate about school-based leadership, take that lead, learn from your mentors, and go for it. Bring who you are into that position. Make it better.
Drop the mic. Thank you very much. Great stuff. Dr. Taylor, go.
My 2 mantras: si se puede, yes you can. So go for it. Take up space. Go. Don't apologize for it. Just go in. And then the second one is adelante. Always move forward. So as long as you're headed in the right direction, you're headed forward. You can look back. You can learn from a lesson or two, but you're not going backwards. So adelante.
Love it. Good stuff. Zandra.
I loved those, Dr. Taylor. Mine is going to be realize what your purpose is and live your purpose-driven life. Because if you love what you do, then it's never work. It's always just a life of passion and the moments that you get to experience with other people. So living in the moment and discover your purpose.
Can you imagine you get a paycheck for doing that? Wow,
I
what a
know.
concept. Wow. Anna, you're up.
All right, so mine's going to be absolutely go tackle that dream. If you have a dream, go live it. I love the quote. Everybody, makes fun of me for this, but I truly believe nothing is impossible. The word itself says I am possible. That's Audrey Hepburn. And that's just something that really hits home with me is wake up every single day to inspire someone, because it is possible. Every single day you could inspire a future leader.
Dr. Houston.
All right. Definitely lead authentically. Be your authentic self. Do not compare yourselves to other people. Your path may not look like anyone else's path, and that is okay. So whatever your journey is, whatever your path is, as long as, and I actually set a timer, then just lead authentically.
Budget your time. Right there. You heard it. That's what leads to success. And Donna, well, finish us up.
Thanks. I'm actually going to flip it because I agree with everything everyone said on the screen. So I'm going to say what we can do for those who do aspire to the leadership position, especially the women who are aspiring, because that's what the show is about. I would encourage all females in positions of leadership to reach back and pull those sisters up. So often that's going to mean having a conversation with them and telling them about our journey and the things we learned along the way and the things we wish somebody had told us, and we wish we had those older female mentors that we didn't have. So now let's turn around and be that for the women coming up through.
Right there, Josh. Josh, what do you think about that? You know this isn't over, Josh. This isn't over yet. Come on.
We're not there. Hold on, brother. For sure. That was a touchdown right there in the red zone. Another touchdown. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's just awesome. All the comments. We know that this is going to be burning hot out there. But most importantly, a big shout out to David Arencibia, who introduced me to Donna and to Jana, brought all this together. Got to give him a big shout out there. Texas Principal of the Year. Just give him a big props out there. But you know what? It's not over. Dean Packard, it is not over. This Sunday, the flagship show, 7 p.m. Eastern. Jorge Valenzuela joining us. You're going to become Hispanic, Dean. Jorge Valenzuela this Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, ready for the flagship show. Thank you very much, leaders. Awesome leaders. You dropped a bunch of knowledge, a lot of inspiration for those little leaders that are looking up to you and saying, I want to be like her. What do you think about that, Dean Packard?
Listen, ladies, I want to say thank you very much for making me a little better tonight as well, because you know what? Your stories inspire me. They help me think about what I do each and every day. And remember, leadership, all you people out there, it doesn't matter if you're male, female, it doesn't matter. To Donna's words earlier tonight, we look for people with it factors. We build capacity. We bring them up. We create pathways for them. And that's what it's all about, especially when we think about our own legacy and what we have to do to bring others into our positions. Hey, on behalf of everybody on the call tonight, we want to say thank you very much, ladies, for spending time with us tonight. And you know what? Kids always deserve the best version of ourselves. Never fails. Ladies, thanks for joining us. Everybody, retweet this if you can. What a great show we had tonight.